Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to this lovely summer morning day. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse community, justice-seeking, religious, proclaiming the power of love at the core of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love of ourselves, and love of our planet. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. Does everybody feel appropriately welcomed? Yes. Good. I'm Patricia Heeb. I'm gonna, I have to tell you my pronouns are she and her, and I'm your celebrant this morning. While Reverend Sarah, our regular minister, has a very well-deserved time off. Let's take a moment to welcome our online community, those joining us via Zoom. So everybody wave at the camera, which is right over there, and look around the room and give a wave to someone, to a friend, to a stranger, everybody. Woo! Yay. A special welcome to our newcomers. We know it's not that easy to check into a new community, and we're glad that you have joined us this morning. We invite you to introduce yourself in the chat if you're online, and the rest of you who are in person, please join us in the hospitality room, which is right over there, that has goodies and coffee and tea after the service, and we can meet you in person. And please fill out one of our newcomers' forms. Did I already say that? Yeah, that's in the entryway, so then we can keep track of you. We'll be following you. Watch out. So, Deborah Smith, do you have an announcement this morning? Come forth.
No doubt many of you are familiar with the Wendell Berry poem that begins, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night in fear of what my life and my children's lives might be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water." I love this poem, and I find it playing in a subconscious loop underneath my waking thoughts, like a constant mantra. It is a comfort, especially in these times. But if I really want to dispel despair, got a little tongue twister there, dispel despair, I have another method available, and one that is sure to enliven me with hope for the future. It goes like this. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives might be, I go and teach religious exploration. Where the children are intelligent and witty and imaginative, and who restore my hope for the future. And you know these children and youth are witty and wise. You have heard some of their responses when Sarah or Travis pose a question during the Story for All Ages. Oftentimes their wisdom pierces the complexity we adults swirl around in. If you want to experience more of this wisdom and insight and joy, I invite you to sign up to participate in the RE program. Travis has created an easy way for you to plug in, and you can sign up to assist as often or as infrequently as you like. Training and mentors will be available, and you'll be joining a group of people who have discovered the secret to a long life, the literal fountain of youth. It's youth! And the energy and vitality with which they bless you. All this month, we are recruiting volunteers. There's a table outside the hospitality room, so while you're waiting in line for your coffee this morning, pick up a brochure, or better yet, sign up to learn more about how you can create a community that supports and nurtures our future.
And Megan Carter.
I'm Megan.
Megan Carter.
Hi. So I just wanted to make a quick announcement. Megan, our OWL coordinator, which stands for Our Whole Lives, we are starting these classes this fall, and it's our sexuality education program. So I have some information about this program. This fall, it's for 5th and 6th graders. But we are going to do the entire rotation for all youth over the course of the year. We have a program information sessions next Sunday from 12 to 1:30, and then Tuesday, August 26th in the evening. And then there's also a forum linked to our website, or there's more information at the table just about if you want to get more information for signing up for OWL classes, and that's not just people here at at Boise, or Boof. It's for anybody. So if you also have friends or kids that you know that would be interested in this kind of important training, please let them know. Thanks. And you can ask me any questions you may have. Thanks.
So each week we begin our service centering ourselves by lighting the flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We light our chalice in solidarity with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting their chalices across the globe, reminding us that we are connected to a growing community of faith and love. As we light the chalice here this morning in the sanctuary, I invite those of you in the virtual community to light a chalice or a candle, if you have one nearby, and share in the chat where your candle is lit this morning. Gathering hymn. You might notice that I'm not a professional. Here, this is. So please rise in body and spirit and join together in singing hymn number 291 in the gray hymnal. Carrie will play it clear through one time.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
Our guest preacher today is Mark McGinnis. He's a member here at Booth. He's a former college art professor and activist. Presently, he's making art daily in his studio here in Boise. He will be speaking today about nature and Charles Darwin. As we enter into this time of worship, let us take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath, knowing that our breath connects us to our bodies, to each other, and to our planet. Our breath offers us the opportunity to tune into our spiritual center. So listen deeply to your heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my soul in the morning. Thou art the dawn to truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning, and thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-driven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep to the deep in me calling, and thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream. Next, our centering hymn. The lyrics are on slide for Zoom, but we are not Zoom, so in your, is it the gray hymnal? Gray hymnal. Page 343, gray hymnal. Our call to worship this morning is from Kenneth L. Patron's poem, This House. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of friendship, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle. It is a house of truth seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks. It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress. This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. Come, let us worship together. With our promise of building a beloved community, we celebrate communities to being a multi-generational affair, a community of generosity, a community of care and connection. Time for all ages. Will the children come to the front and have a seat on the floor? Come on, kids.
There's room up here. I've got visuals today. I know, right? All right, my friends, can I get a thumbs up from everybody? Thumbs up, doing all right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So again, hi. My name's Travis. I'm the Director of Religious Exploration here at Booth, and I've got a story today. A story about moths. Moths. Hi, I'm up here. All right, this is a story about the peppered moth. The peppered moth. Anybody ever heard about the story of the peppered moth? No. So it's not just a story, this story. It really happened. Scientists have studied this story for years. In England, there was a moth called the peppered moth. Its scientific name is Biston bellaria. Yeah, something like that. Betularia. So, a long time ago, the vast majority of peppered moths my wires crossed. Were black and white and spotted. They almost looked like cookies and cream ice cream. That's why do you think they were called the peppered moth? Yeah? Looks like it's got pepper all over it, doesn't it? You know. But there was a few moths that were dark, almost black. And these peppered moths were called the Biston Betularia carbonaria. Whoa. Carbon. Huh. And the pale moths had a clever advantage. They could rest on lightly covered tree bark and guess what? What? They didn't get eaten. Exactly. They blended right in. The hungry birds, they flew right past. But guess what happened to the carbonarias? What happened? Yeah. They got eaten. Which kinds of moths do you think there were the most of in England? The white ones. Exactly. These were easy pickings, right? Yeah, I know. But in the mid-1800s, something changed. Okay. This was the time of what's called the Industrial Revolution. And if anybody knows anything about the Industrial Revolution, what do you know?
That like factories started being made and we used charcoal.
Exactly. I didn't even have to prompt it. Factories started being made, and they burnt coal. And what happens when you burn coal? Global warming, exactly. No, that's exactly it, right? Yeah. It leaves pollution in the environment.
Sometimes it's black so the moths could blend in.
Wow. Okay, he just jumped to the end of the story. Thank you. So with that, all the industrial smoke into the air, the black soot coming from the fact, what do you think over time happened to the trees? Especially around the cities, they started changing. Why were they black? Why were they dark? Good. So, now, when our carbonaria moths, or whatever they're called, landed on the trees, what happened? They didn't die. Birds went right past them. But what happened? Yeah, exactly. When the peppered moth, oop, turn around my peppered moth. Whoa.
And now those guys are
Now those guys, yeah. Within 50 years, between 1850 and 1900, it used to be 90%, 98% of the moths were peppered moths. By 1900, 98% of the moths were the black moths, were the dark moths. Did they want to change color? Was that, oops, sorry. What's that? Yeah, no, that's a good idea. The white moths might be covered in soot too. Not quite. They were able to fly and keep it off of them. But the advantage flipped, right? Scientists call this change in this effect, it's called industrial melantism. Melantism. When animals actually change in appearance because of the pollution in the environment. Sad we have to give this a name, but they gave it a name. So years later, people realized that all the smoke was harming the trees, the health, and they started to work to clean the air. And England significantly reduced its air pollution, moved away from all coal factories, and is predicted by the scientists you guys will learn more about, Darwin, the theory of natural selection. As the earth got cleaner, as the air got cleaner, what happened to the trees? The trees were cleaner, and what's happening now, do you think? Exactly, the white moths are coming back. It's not that they chose, it's called, they didn't choose to change color, they couldn't do it on their own. It's called natural selection. Natural selection. The birds weren't eating the light ones, or the dark ones, so they're the ones that flourished. So, here, and so, yeah, we're living things that are better suited to their environment, they survive and pass on their traits. So here is how the moth has anything to do with us. Humans, we're like the moths. We adapt to survive, but we can do something extra. We have our big brains, right? With our big brains, we can do bad things, right? Got ourselves in trouble. But we can also do good things. And we can notice when our actions are causing harm and choose to change our behavior to make things better. So the moths adapted because they had to. We can adapt because we have to, but also because we want to. We want to create a world that's kinder, friendlier, more just. It's part of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. When we see a problem, we don't just adjust to it, we work together to fix it. So Darwin taught us that life evolves. As people, we can evolve in understanding in our hearts. We can evolve in our understanding. And in our hearts, always learning, growing, shaping the kind of world in which we want to live. The end. The story of the peppered moth. All right, now for our time for our blessing. And anybody who's joining us for RE class today, we're going to meet right at the middle door over here, and we'll go across the courtyard. Cool, thanks.
When we give, we say yes to the natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and we say yes to building beloved community within and beyond our walls. We commit ourselves to doing the work for justice and compassion for all people and for our earth. Our plate partner today is the Pay It Forward Fund. And I invite the ushers to come forward, and our offering will be gratefully received. As the ushers bring the offering gifts forward, please join in singing our collective blessing. The words are printed on the bookmark found in the seat back pockets. Gifts so freely given. As we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. I don't know what happens next. She's gonna. We have Jay take them away.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. So our reading this morning is adapted from John O'Donohue's Praise of the Earth. Let us bless the imagination of the earth that knew early the patience to harness the mind of time, waited for the seasons to warm, ready to welcome the emergence of voyaging among the stillness of land. Let us thank the earth that offers ground for home and holds our feet firm to walk in space, open it to infinite galaxies. Let's salute the silence and the certainty of mountains, their sublime stillness, their dream-filled hearts. Let's salute the wonder of a garden trusting the first warmth of spring. Let us ask forgiveness of the earth for all our sins against her, for our violence and poisonings of her beauty. Let's remember within us the ancient day, holding the memory of seasons, the passion of the wind, the fluency of water, the warmth of fire, the quiver touch of the sun, and shadowed sureness of the moon, that we may awaken to live to the full the dream of the earth, who chose us to emerge and incarnate its hidden night in mind, spirit, and light. Our sermon this morning is delivered by Mark McGinnis, a former art professor and interested in about everything, including Darwin. Come up here. Apparently I didn't write anything about that.
Well, I'm settled. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I really appreciate having this opportunity to talk to you. As Patricia mentioned, I'm an old professor, and we don't get to talk as much once we're retired, so we miss that opportunity. But I am an old professor, and I present things in the old way. So I'm going to lecture you today. Yes.
Will there be a quiz?
Yes. There will be a quiz, and I would recommend you take notes. But you could also doze off a lot if you wish. I'm very used to that. My presentation today is going to be on Mr. Charles Darwin. This is a pastel drawing that I did of him for part of a project I'm working on called Agents of Change. These are people who really made a difference in the life of the world and of people through their words and actions. And Charles was actually the first one that I did in this series. I have presented once more on another of the series, Ida B. Wells, some time ago. But today we'll hear about Charles. He was born in 1809 and died in 1882. Excuse me. Charles Darwin could see. I mean really see. He could see the large and the tiny, similarities, differences, relationships, divergencies, and all of the minutiae of visual experience, much like an artist should. He used his talent not to paint pictures. He used his talent to change the world. Darwin was an armchair Unitarian. As a child, he attended Unitarian Church in Shrewsbury, England. The Shrewsbury School headmaster was a Unitarian sympathizer. Darwin's wife, Emma, was a devout Unitarian. There was considerable Unitarian influence at Edinburgh University, where he studied medicine. But by the time he had completed the Beagle voyage, most of his religion had faded. And by the time he wrote on the origin of species, he privately identified as an agnostic, although he avoided public declarations for his family's sake. It may be that Unitarian emphasis on reason and skepticism encouraged Darwin's willingness to challenge traditional beliefs. Darwin was born in Victorian England, the fifth of 6 children, in a wealthy family. He was destined to be a British gentleman. His grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was a well-known physician, inventor, natural philosopher, poet, and a very wealthy man. Although he died before Charles was born, his influence permeated the Darwin family. Charles' father, Robert, followed in his father's footsteps and also became a prominent physician. Charles was baptized in the Church of England, maintaining the family's connection to establishment and respectability. At 18, his father sent him to Edinburgh University in Scotland to study medicine, in keeping with the family tradition. Charles found dissection and surgery appalling and gradually shifted his focus to natural history. Surprise, surprise. His father was dismayed and subsequently enrolled him in Christ College, Cambridge, to train as an Anglican clergyman. There, Charles again gravitated his interest to natural history and specimen collecting, skipping almost all the other classes. When it came time to sit for his graduation exams in 1838, he realized that he lacked almost all the basic topics that he needed to pass. So he did what all of my students did, engaged in extensive cramming. It must have worked. He graduated 10th in a class of 178. He was a very bright person. After graduation, an opportunity arose for Darwin to join a voyage around the world on the HMS Beagle as the ship's naturalist and gentleman companion to the captain. The ship's mission was to survey the coast of South America and chart its harbors. This was one of the greatest examples of how a twist of fate can change the world. Darwin's father was dead set against the voyage. Though Charles initially agreed not to go, other family members quietly supported him and eventually persuaded his father to allow the trip. The planned 2-year voyage ultimately lasted 5 years, during which Darwin spent extended periods in ports collecting specimens, fossils, and studying geology. He sent crate after crate after crate of fossils, rocks, plants, mammals, birds, insects, fish, etc., back to England for scientific analysis. Upon returning, he was hailed as an established naturalist due to these astonishing collections he sent back. The collections alone demonstrated species variation, mass extinction, and laid the groundwork for evolutionary science. After returning from the Beagle voyage, his health declined. He endured serious ailments for the next 40 years. Gastrointestinal issues, chronic vomiting, skin conditions, vertigo, headaches, exhaustion, fainting, insomnia, tinnitus, agoraphobia, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and more. I'm exhausted reading that list. Yeah. Modern scholars speculate his ailments may have stemmed from Chagas disease he contracted in South America, compounded by genetic disorders and or psychosomatic stress. Darwin tried numerous treatments for the ailments and therapies, but found little relief. While his illness sometimes hindered his progress, he accomplished an astonishing amount of work. Having experienced milder but similar health challenges after a difficult trip myself, I feel a deep empathy for Darwin. Darwin's father was impressed by his son's early achievements and established Charles as a self-funded gentleman scientist. In 1839, Darwin married his first cousin, Emma Wedgwood, of the Wedgwood ceramics dynasty. Over the next 17 years, she bore 10 children, seven of whom survived to adulthood, several with sickly childhoods. They lived in a spacious country home with 7 servants and 2 nursemaids. Darwin was an unusually attentive Victorian father, rarely spending a day without his children and wife. He took an active role in their health, development, and education. After his life-changing voyage, Darwin began researching and writing several works on geology, and then devoted 8 years to the study of barnacles, producing 2 volumes totaling nearly 1,000 pages. While engaged in these projects, he was also formulating what he called the Big Book, compiling his research on species which had begun on the Beagle and expanded over a decade. Serious work on the book began in the 1850s. Titled On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, it meticulously outlines the development of species through natural selection, showing that life's diversity arose from common descent via branching pattern. Members of a species best adapted to their environment were more likely to survive and pass on their traits, a concept known as natural selection that Travis did such a wonderful job with the kids. Origin of Species was well received by much of the scientific community, but it faced fierce opposition from much of the religious community. Six-day creation and Adam and Eve were proven wrong. And with them, original sin, the fall, atonement, and possibly even the need for Christ. If the creation story was wrong, what else in the Bible was wrong? This was a revolution. This changed the world. Debates erupted across Britain and internationally. Darwin's colleagues and friends defended him and championed his work vigorously. Darwin's health kept him out of the fray, which I imagine was a great relief to him. Later in life, he wrote to a friend that life may have originated in a warm little pond. After a century, this was validated by primordial soup. And today, most of U.S. fundamentalists and evangelicals still reject evolution and cling to a six-day creation. Most of the furor subsided over the next decade, and natural selection gained near universal acceptance in scientific circles. Origin of Species became a standard scientific text. Awards honored Darwin, securing his place in the world's leading scientists. Darwin had deliberately avoided directly addressing human evolution in Origins, knowing it would provoke even more controversy. He rectified this omission with The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex in 1871. Again, a 2-volume book of 900 pages. The detail he dealt with will drive you crazy if you try to read it today. The work examined human descent from mammals and unflinchingly presented the evidence linking humans to primates. He explored the mental evolution, including moral and social instincts of animals, something far ahead of his time. Darwin believed there were no separate human races, although he acknowledged the varying degrees of development within humanity, considering Europeans to be the most advanced, as one would expect in Victorian England. He strongly opposed slavery, but supported colonialism. The Descent of Man also explored sexual selection, identifying two mechanisms: female choice and male competition. Darwin noted the extravagant male adaptations to attract females, such as the peacock's tail. Yet he clung to the Victorian belief that women's societal roles were dictated by nature, and that men were more courageous, energetic, and inventive. They always give me the toughest celebrant. This standard of male superiority increased while being challenged and persists in patriarchal structures worldwide. See? clarified that. Many would condemn Darwin for these views on race and women. I don't. He was a 19th century Victorian English gentleman, not a 21st century scientist. We cannot expect him to think as some of us do. Darwin's final book, The Formation of Vegetable Mold Through the Action of Worms, 1881. It sparked no controversy. Earthworms had fascinated Darwin throughout his life. He once joked that he wanted to write about them before he joined them. In meticulous detail, he documented how earthworms enrich soil by digesting and excreting it. Darwin wrote, quote, "It may be doubted whether there are any animals which have played so important a part in the history of the world as these lowly animals." No worms, no enriched earth, no agriculture, no people. Charles Darwin died in 1882 and was buried near Isaac Newton in the very religious Westminster Abbey. During and after his lifetime, some of Darwin's ideas were taken out of context to justify harmful theories. Economist Herbert Spencer coined the phrase survival of the fittest, using it to justify harsh economic theories. The poor were unfit and undeserving of aid, and taxing the wealthy hindered the natural evolution of economy. I personally prefer survival of the most adaptable, traits favoring flexibility over brute strength, and I think study will verify that. But the most abhorrent misuse of survival of the fittest was the eugenics movement. It promoted the reproduction among the fit and discouraged it among the unfit. Darwin rejected eugenics as cruel. But the idea spread through Europe and America, finding its horrible extreme in Hitler's Germany. Darwin's work exemplifies how one man's ideas can bless the world and, when twisted, curse it. Alfred Russel Wallace, Darwin's protege and close friend, captured his mentor's legacy thus: "In the great work which Darwin did for science, he laid not only the foundations of a new system of natural history, but he revolutionized our whole conception of nature, of the universe, and even of ourselves. He showed us that the world was not made as it is, but as what it has become. All that the, that all the infinite variety and beauty and harmony we see around us has been produced by the general laws acting through the ages, and that man himself is but the culminating product of this grand process of evolution." A fitting memorial. Many of Darwin's ideas clearly resonate today. We must adapt to survive. The human species has been badly failing in the past 2 centuries. But we have rapidly adapted modern technology to ensure that we won't survive. A little less optimistic than Travis's ending. I have a postscript. Several Sundays ago, Liza Long gave us a really nice presentation on AI chatbots. Now, I don't use AI chatbots to write for me, but I do use them to edit for me. They are very, very helpful in that aspect. And I don't like ChatGPT. It just sucks. As an editor, it just does not work well. So, but I like to use is the evil Chinese DeepSeek as my editor. It is just so good, you know, that after it edited the first version of the sermon for me, I made a comment to it. And I said, thanks, that was great. And here's what it said back. Thank you. I'm so glad the edits were helpful. Your piece was already vivid and engaging. It was a pleasure to refine it while preserving your unique voice and perspective. If you ever need another pass for this or future writings, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to help you with anything from fine-tuning sentences to structural feedback. Wishing you all the best with your work. Darwin would approve of such careful detail. Warmly, your editor. Thank you all.
They were kinder than Patricia.
Oh, I thought he did okay. Yeah. Each week we take time to acknowledge the many joys and sorrows among us, so we might lift the burden or share the joy. It is through our sharing with one another that we forge deep bonds of community and connection. So we begin by sharing these joys and sorrows. A joy. Diane Schwabe says, in the latter part of July, she spent a beautiful 10 days in Stockholm, Sweden, and surrounding countryside with 2 of her children. We met a distant cousin and discovered where one set of great-great-grandparents lived and worked. It was a thrilling trip, I guess. Patty and George Reno have a joy. The Reno family camping on the Flathead River at the Mission Mountain Irish Music Rendezvous. Does sound fun. Anne and Matthew Sabin's 35 wedding anniversary is August 11th, and Gwen and Bill Reed celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary today. If you're holding someone in your hearts or minds this morning, I invite you to speak their name into this community of love, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all of our joys and sorrows, those named and those that remain silent, close to our hearts. Let us together take a deep breath in and out. Releasing the sorrows the world knows too well, and finding comfort in our companionship with one another. Recognize that you are a part of a whole and holy community where woe and joy are woven fine. Please join me in a moment of prayer. For the sun and the dawn, which we did not create, for the moon in the evening, which we did not make, for food that we plant but cannot grow, for friends and loved ones we have earned but cannot buy, for though gathered company which welcomes us as we are from wherever we have come, for all things which come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves, gifts of love and friendship, we lift our hearts in thanks this day. Please join in singing our closing hymn, number 295, in the gray hymnal. Sing out praises for the journey. Friends, I share these closing words from Annie Dillard. We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature, so that creation need not play to an empty house. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.